After 20 years. The policeman on the round moved up the avenue impressively. The time was hardly 10 o'clock at night. But icy gusts of wind with rain on them had made the people leave the streets. He twirled his stick with many intricate and artful movements, turning now and then to cast his watchful eye down the street. He, with his tall form and slight swagger, made a fine picture of a guardian of peace. Now and then you might see the lights of a cigar store or of an all-night restaurant, but the majority of the doors belonged to businesses that had long since been closed. When about midway of a certain block, the policeman suddenly slowed his walk. In the doorway of a hardware store a man leaned, with a cigar in his mouth. As the policeman came near, the man spoke. "It's all right, officer," he said, reassuringly. "I'm just waiting for a friend. It's an appointment made 20 years ago." Sounds a little funny to you, doesn't it? Well, I'll explain if you'd like to make certain. It's all straight. About that long ago there used to be a restaurant where this store stands, Big Joe Brady's restaurant. Until 5 years ago, said the policeman. It was torn down then. The man in the doorway lit his cigar. The light showed a pale face with sharp eyes, and a little white scar near his right eyebrow. His scarf pin was a large diamond, oddly set. 20 years ago tonight, said the policeman, I dined here at Big Joe Brady's with Jimmy Wells, my best friend. He and I were aged 20. The next morning I was to start for the West to make my fortune. You couldn't have pulled Jimmy out of New York. He thought it was the only place on the earth. Well, we agreed that night that we would meet here again exactly 20 years from that date and time, no matter what our conditions might be or from what distance we might have to come. We figured that in 20 years each of us ought to have our destiny worked out and our riches whatever they were going to be. It sounds very interesting, said the policeman. Haven't you heard from your friend since you left him? Well, yes, for a time we wrote letters to each other, said the other. But after a year or two we lost track of each other. You see, the West is a pretty big proposition, and I kept hustling around over it pretty lively. But I know Jimmy will meet me here if he's alive, for he always was the truest old friend in the world. He'll never forget. I came 1,000 miles to stand in this door tonight, and it will be worth it if my old partner shows up. The waiting man pulled out an expensive watch, the lids of it set with small diamonds. 3 minutes to 10, he announced. It was exactly 10 o'clock when we parted here at the restaurant door. Did pretty well out west, didn't you? Asked the policeman. The policeman twirled his club and took a step or two. I'll be on my way. Hope your friend comes around all right. Going to call time on him sharp? I should say not, said the other. I'll give him half an hour at least. If Jimmy is alive on the earth, he'll be here by that time. Good night, officer. Good night, sir, said the policeman, passing on along his beat, trying doors as he went. About 20 minutes he waited, and then a tall man in a long overcoat, with collar turned up, hurried across from the opposite side of the road. He went directly to the waiting man. Oh, I grew a bit after I was 20. Doing well in New York, Jimmy? Moderately. I have a position in one of the city's departments. Come on, Bob, we'll go around to a place I know of and have a good long talk about old times. The two men started up the street, arm in arm. One, his pride boosted by success, was beginning to tell the history of his career. The other, hidden in his overcoat, listened with interest. At the corner stood a drugstore, brilliant with electric lights. When they came into this glare, each of them turned to look upon the other's face. The man from the West stopped suddenly and released his arm. You don't look like Jimmy Wells, he snapped. 20 years is a long time but not long enough to change a man's nose from a Roman to a pug. It sometimes changes a good man into a bad one, said the tall man. You've been under arrest for 10 minutes, Silky Bob. Chicago thinks you may have come over our way and she wants to have a talk with you. Come with me, you will? That's sensible. Now, before we go to the police station, here's a note I was asked to give to you. You may read it here at the window. It's from Police Officer Wells. The man from the west unfolded the little piece of paper that was given to him. His hands were steady when he began to read, but it violently shook a little by the time he had finished. The note read,